Authors Press.
Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. And on the line with us today, we have Ollie Marshall Rico. We'll be discussing her fantastic book, Scattered Changes, Stepladder Changes, available for purchase directly to her personal site. That's OllieMarshallRicoBooks.com. There, not only will you find more information on Ollie herself, you'll find more information on this fantastic book, Scattered Changes, as well as find more information on the other books that she has also written, and you'll find hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing pages. So one more time, that's OllieMarshallRicoBooks.com. You know, and I will say that Ollie was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best movers in the business. Authors Press Publishing. So if you have a book that you'd like moved, make sure you're doing yourself a favor and you're contacting Authors Press. And you can find more information on them at authorspress.com. Sit back, strap in, and get ready for a fantastic education, because that is exactly what we're going to be receiving today. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Ollie, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you so much for being a guest. How are you?
First of all, let me thank you, Mr. Cole, for having me as an author on your show. I deeply appreciate you for thinking worthy of me to have me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Ollie, I said it on the pre-screening call. I'm going to say it again. The honor and the privilege is truly all ours. I mean, we're very much avid readers here, right? So we're always looking for more books and really looking to expand our catalog. But also, as I mentioned to you on the pre-screening call, and guys, you will learn this the moment you pick up the book. This book is so timely. The information that you discuss within the pages is something that can truly benefit any point at any day or time, but especially right now. Given the past couple of years that we've all experienced with this pandemic and the variations of lockdown that we've experienced, a book of this magnitude is so pertinent. And we're very much looking forward to this discussion and looking forward to stealing some words of wisdom from you as well. Now, Ollie, I know we have so much information to cover, but before we go into the book, let's hold off slightly. Start by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
I am a native of Springfield, Arkansas, from the community of Union Chapel, where I grew up with 10 brothers and 5 sisters. Currently, I live in Orange, New Jersey with my husband, and I am a retired educator from the Newark Public School System. And basically, I speak through my poetry.
There you have it. There you have it. Ollie, listen, this is not where I wanted to go at first, but how could I not? Can we just address the fact that you said you had 15 siblings, 10 brothers, 5 sisters? My goodness. Listen, Ollie, we're going to have to invite you back onto the network, not to discuss this book, not to discuss any of the other books that you've written in your repertoire, but just to discuss your background. Because with that many brothers and sisters, I'm sure there was never a dull moment in the household. What an incredible family environment. And I'm sure you have stories for days, and we'd love to hear them. Okay, that is absolutely incredible. God bless you, your entire family, and especially your parents. Wow, so much love to go around, I'm sure. Ollie, without further ado, let's jump right in, because of course the anchor of today's interview is all about scattered changes, stepladder changes. Tell us a little bit more about your book.
Well, as you said previously, this book is divided into 4 poems, and I'm going to briefly go through each poem and tell you a little something about each poem. Part 1 really deals with unrest, the loss of loved ones, Katrina, addiction, and lack of respect of the Black community. All of that is listed under unrest and then more. But I just wanted to highlight a few poems that are listed under unrest. and we go into the environment, which is a part 2. We look at tsunami, the farmer, and air soul. They explore the environment on various levels. We're going to leave and go to part 3, looking at scattered. Scattered, it looks more into the individual, the changes that we go through. Sometimes we don't know whether we're going to move one step forward or one step backward. But if we have to crawl and do what we must do, we must elevate forward. We can't stand still. Then we look at parents. There are elements of change that very parents go through. There's a poem that details concern of many parents. And I'm going to leave there and go to the ending part, which is part 4, exiting. And we look at survival mode. When I look at survival mode, I look at whatever you're in, you must find your own survival mode to continue to move forward. You may stumble, but that's okay if you're stumbling, but stumble forward. If you fall backward, get up and move on forward. And also, we look at false hope. Those are just a few highlighted poems in each section. Each poem stands on its own and it can tell its own story. Even though they're all interrelated in each section, but when you read one poem, you have a true picture of what is going on in that particular poem, and you can feel a sense of you going from one step to the next step. That's the overall view of the book.
You know, Ollie, I'm curious about your title. Scattered Changes, Stepladder Changes. Talk to our listening audience. Why did you choose that title to be the representation for your book? And in your mind, what connection does that title have to the narrative itself?
But Scattered Changes is like broken glass all on the floor. You walk into a room, you have broken glass all over the floor. You know, in order for you to get from one end to the next, you're going to, if you're walking barefooted, you're going to pick up some of that glass on your foot. But you must keep going forward. It's like being deep down in a valley. And you must get to the mountain, on top of the mountain. How can you get to the top of that mountain if so many things are piled up on you? Do you stay there and succumb to your current existence? Or do you say, I must go, I can't stop. I must survive. So you get on that ladder. If you get halfway up on that ladder and you're crawling at this moment, you're not walking fast or you're not running up that ladder. You're crawling on that ladder and you fall back 3 steps, even though you're almost to the top and you don't know whether you can make another step. You just keep holding on until you crawl a little further. And when you crawl a little further, you knew at one point you were down in that valley, and that valley was so deep and dark. You did not want to think about whether you could get up on that mountain or not. You just knew that you had to get up there. You couldn't stop. You couldn't succumb to your position. So, as human beings, we all go through changes in our lives. We all have pain. But you have to move forward. And I know that some people say, I can't move any further. I can't go. I've had so many issues. I'm down. What can I do? What you say to yourself, I can. I know I will, but I won't give up. I'll just keep it going. And by you not giving in to your condition, you're moving forward, falling or stepping, however you can get there. You find a mode of survival. And your own mode of survival, you use that to go forward. Now, my mode of survival has been always the pen. And what I mean by that, when my inner turmoil in search of ways, and I observe what's going on in society, and I can't sleep, I take out my pen and I write about it. And for an example, Katrina. And I observed what was going on concerning Katrina. And I cried because I felt the pain of the people there in the dome. But I couldn't do anything. Not there. What did I do? I took out my pen and I shared their thoughts, their feelings, by putting their thoughts on paper through me. So all my writing is basically based upon events that occurred in life that I have witnessed. If I didn't witness it directly, I observed the news, I encountered individuals that cried about the situation they was in, or I personally experienced it. That's what you'll find throughout the book, because it's a book of pain, but it's a book of pain going forward. And I think, I don't care whether you live locally or globally, we all must have a connection. And if we have a connection, if someone knows that I'm not isolated, somebody else is feeling this pain, feeling the pain too, by us being openly communicating with each other, maybe we can connect with each other, and maybe we can move forward by dealing with that, and I would call that a healing process. A healing process becomes when you can open up and talk about things that surrounding you, whether you do it openly on pencil, paper, or you can share it with someone that you know. You must feel open, because you cannot deal with this by yourself sometimes. You must find a way. You must find your own mode of survival.
Again, here on the line with Ollie Marshall Rico. We're discussing her fantastic book, Scattered Changes, Stepladder Changes. Available for purchase directly through her personal site, OllieMarshallRicoBooks.com. You know, Ollie, next question that I'd love to go into, and listen, my listening audience is going to get very upset with me if I don't hurry up and ask, okay? So let's hurry up and move there. Now, we know this book is comprised of your own poetry. So if you have one readily available, we would love to hear one of them, please.
Since most of us at one level or another, we didn't lose anyone personally ourselves, perhaps we know someone that lost someone. So I'm going to read a poem that says, "A Mother Cried." And I'm looking at the events that have occurred within the last couple of years or so. Even though this poem was written before then, I just want to highlight things that occur all the time with individuals. So what I'm going to, it says, "A mother cried. Skeletons tell facts of death. Let there be none tomorrow. This anguish shall cease to exist the day you are put to rest. You have stolen his cries of pain with the joy we shared. There are no laughter in my house. Skeletons tell facts of death. Let there be none tomorrow. The trees are painted with the shadow of death. The laughter and cries of tomorrow I will hear no more. The transition child growth I will see no more. Skeletons tell facts of death. Let there be none tomorrow. Down the street, yesterday, I heard the cry. When neighbors came calling today, children was changed. Yesterday smiles, tomorrow hope will be heard in another, not the voice I yearn to hear. Skeleton, the facts of death, let there be none tomorrow. A dreadful destroyer continue to deprive a generation of tomorrow. Shall it remain an unknown phenomenon, tracking only black males? I went walking, disappear without a trace. Guesses leave no answers. Skeleton tells facts of death. Let there be none tomorrow. An accident today, tomorrow a life takes. An Atlantic mother cries. A mother, a community is held hostage. Skeleton tells facts of death. Let there be none tomorrow. Now, that particular poem was written during the Atlanta, when these young teenagers were being disappeared. And also there was 5 young black males within this local community that in New Jersey, it was surrounding community. 5 young black males. They went from East Orange to Newark, and they told their mom. The son told his mom, "I will be back in an hour. I'm going over here with my friends." Those 5 boys disappeared, never to be heard again. So I wrote that crying for those 5 mothers that lost that never heard from their sons again. Mm-hmm. And I also wrote that it was connection with the Atlanta teenage young boys that was disappeared. So that's how I write. When things happen in society, I write about it because I ache inside. Now, that poem was written many years ago, but it also applies to the current situation that we have experienced for the last 2 years, and we are currently experiencing now. And I guess that my greatest thing is that we must learn to share our pain in order to heal. It doesn't mean that it's going to go away, but it simply means that we have to move forward. Unfortunately, many times without the loved one that we have lost. I hope that poem is appropriate to answer many questions in reference to the current situation that we have experienced. And specifically, that poem is listed under unread as Katrina. And I don't know whether you want to listen to Katrina or not, but we can just let that stay. And I won't read anything about Katrina, but basically what struck me about Katrina is that when those people was in their dome, many people called them refugees. And my thing was, people wanted safety, not separate. They didn't want to be separated like slavery. It was a flood disaster, not a political or religious war. Was it simply a persecution of class and color when the end came? And and I think any person could identify with the situation that was going on concerning Katrina. I just wanted to just add that. I'm not reading that poem, but you see things that going on in society, and my way of dealing with it, I must write about it. I must pen it on paper. By me penning it on paper, I am able to move forward step by step. It doesn't take it away, but it allows me to be allows me to maintain my sanity in a way.
Absolutely. Ollie, I think where the power of your book lies, I love the fact that you chose that poem to read for us, because it showcases the fact that you're not afraid to shy away from the pain. And I think that there's so much value in that, because guys, when we face these things head on, it's not going to eradicate the pain that we feel. But that's how the healing process works. We have to address it in order to move past it. And from a standpoint of just recognizing that these things are happening, you're raising awareness, right? So the things that you're talking about are unfortunate and painful to listen to, painful to acknowledge. But just because we choose, we may choose not to acknowledge it, that doesn't mean it's not happening, right? And I love the fact that you didn't shy away from that, and you are addressing things that are happening within the society that people may want to try to turn off, people may want to try to turn away from. But at the end of the day, guys, this is life. You can't shut it off. You can't turn away from it. As we start to close out of this fantastic interview, you were talking about, when you're climbing that ladder, sometimes you're crawling. You may slip, you may fall back. Whatever you have to do to just keep crawling, moving forward. Guys, listen, at the end of the day, we don't want to move at a snail's pace, right? Of course, if we can go to 0 to 100 and instantly we're successful in whatever manifestation success means to you, we would absolutely love to do that. It's not the way life works. And I love that analogy that you gave, because I think so often, just as a human, it's just as human nature, because I've been there, speaking from my own experience, a lot of times we fail to acknowledge that slow progression is still progression, right? We're still moving at a forward pace. It might not be as fast as we want to be moving, but progression is still being made. And I think a lot of times we neglect to see that. And I think that is so valuable that you had the wherewithal to really make sure that you put that out there. It's all about continuing just to keep your head down, push forward. Sometimes, hey, you may get up to walk, you may get up to running, but if you gotta crawl, it's not a problem. There's no shame in that, because it's still progression. Slow progression is still progression. I absolutely love it. And guys, you know what I love even more? Is listen, we're at the end of the interview now. We've discussed so much, but yet we've barely scratched the surface. Okay, you know what you have to do. I'm going to say it one more time, even though I know I don't have to. Here in the line with Ollie Marshall Rico. We just finished discussing her wonderful book, Scattered Changes, Stepladder Changes, available for purchase directly through her personal site, OllieMarshallRicoBooks.com. Head on over there, pick up your copy. Make sure while you're at it, you look into the 5 other titles that she's written as well. You surely will not be disappointed. Let's grow, let's develop, let's educate ourselves, and it starts with this fantastic narrative. Ollie, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you once again for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and you have a blessed and safe day.